Hello, everybody. This is Waldorf,
And this is Statler.
and today we're going to talk just a little bit about review the army I took to Buckeye.
Yeah.
Buckeye Battles 2017.
And this fancy picture is your army on your
Fancy
army
picture,
board?
my fancy box down here in the bottom.
Yes.
So, yep, my big trebuchets. It was a terrible picture. I should have taken this better.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll skip that. And that's not my army. And there we go.
There we go.
So the Kingdom of Aquitaine. First thing I had the Duke, the General with the Blessed Sword, Virtue of Renown. I don't recall. I mean, I'm sure he did better than I'm remembering, but I do not remember rolling more than 2 or 3 sixes in his attacks the whole tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember him fighting one of the big guys on a disc from the Warriors armies.
Right.
For at least 3 rounds of combat and never getting a 6, despite re-rolling to wounds. So, anyway. So I would consider this build, you're relying on the 6. It's a nice build because people are afraid of it. People tend to stay away from you because they don't want to fight. They don't want to take that chance. But I did not have very good luck with him.
I know it's a popular net build.
Right.
I'm personally not a fan of it because you're hoping that you roll a 6.
Correct.
Followed by probably another 6. And even if you do that, there's a lot of big things
6 followed by 6? What do you mean?
you're hoping to get the 6 to wound.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing the multi-wound.
Yeah, and rolling a 5 or 6 and doing a 3 wounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus 1. So.
Right. So you're hoping for that combination of 6s.
Right.
And even if you get that against, it's not like in the old days of 8th when you got the big rolls, you could actually kill stuff outright. Right?
Correct.
It's still going to be alive, chances are.
Not if it's a character. Probably
I'm sorry, if you're talking about big monsters. Because this used to be the anti-steam tank, anti-monster.
Right. Roll up, roll the 6, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't do that anymore. Yeah, it's good against characters if you can get past the ward saves and everything else.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but it's got the reroll. Anyway. It does have the rerollable ward save. It ignores armor because you're rolling the 6.
Oh, I like all that aspect of it. I'm just saying, I think people put so much into the renown.
It is.
But when you don't roll that, he's just striking at strength 4. So,
yes.
He just isn't doing enough. I'd actually, yeah, I mean, to me, I'd rather see something.
The audacity where it gives you the stubborn type.
Well, I don't have a problem with renown, but I'd rather giving it to somebody that can actually do something when he doesn't get the 6s.
Oh, okay.
Frankly, a questing virtue with this guy, and
yeah, I'm
great
relying
weapon's
on
not too shabby.
Yeah, I'm relying on the chance to keep your strength low, so you get to re-roll the strength.
Right.
Re-roll that.
It's like an 18% chance, and that's assuming there's no ward save.
Right.
So that's the only thing I know it's a real popular build. I'm just not a fan because then you get stuck in a fight in a unit, and I got 4 strength, 4 attacks. So.
Yeah. The next guy was a second Duke, the guy with the Dragon Lance, Potion of Swiftness, Duskstone, and Virtue of Might.
Yeah.
If you watch the 5 reviews we did from this, there is one game where he shined against one unit.
Yeah.
He did kill in another game against the Skaven, he did kill the, whatever that platform is, the pendulum.
Right.
The plague pendulum. He did kill it, but it already had 3 wounds on it. He just went in and finished it up.
Yeah.
Like I said, very disappointing. The only time he came off and did well was against that unit of Minotaurs.
Yeah.
In the entire tournament, just wasn't there. Wasn't worth the points. Never made back his points except in that game.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one you see a lot of people take it. I think it's a little better on a flyer where you can easily pick your targets.
Yeah, picking my targets wasn't a problem.
I'm sorry, you can easily pick your targets. Yeah. Not a huge fan of it myself. I think it's kind of interesting because you don't pay quite so much when you put it on a paladin.
Oh, and bring the number.
You lose one attack, but you're really really relying on the hits, and
right.
It's not quite. You're not putting so many points into it, so when it whips on you, don't feel so bad when you pick the model up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The Paladin BSB was fine for his points. never really did a lot, but with the 1-up armor save, he just stayed alive.
Yeah, well, I mean, it stays alive, and there's,
I never got him on a monster where it mattered, so the questing virtue really never came into play.
But even against that, you got 3, strength 6 attacks every round of combat.
Every round of combat.
When your other guys are grinding at 4s or 3s, he's putting those 6s in there.
Yep.
And this is an example to me of somebody that can at least keep doing something. It's not not gonna crush a whole bunch of guys, but it'll kill a few guys here and there. So I don't mind it.
I had no problem with the points I spent on him.
Yeah. I might be tempted to switch guys around as far as the might and the and the questing guy.
Oh, okay. Coming up next, we had the damsel with the wizard master, 4 druidism spells, scepter power. Druidism was a mixed bag. There was times when I had 1 spell to cast. Especially early in the game where I had no wounds to get back.
Right.
I cast my my oaken throne, and then I have 1 spell I can cast, so they just stop it.
Yeah.
Because it's only 1 spell, and you don't want to put a lot of dice behind something. You don't want to put 4 dice behind a spell in a land if you're in a lance.
Right, and you maxed out all of your character points, right? You didn't have anything else.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 10 under.
Okay,
max,
so because you didn't have enough points to get the wafers or anything.
No, I did like the scepter of power. I think that helped me a lot. I did use that several times during this tournament.
Yeah,
I liked it. I would have rather had a scroll, but I didn't have the points for that. So,
right.
I did like the scepter of power.
Mm-hmm.
It came off okay. Of course, a scroll or the Book of Arcane Power, both those are fantastic. But if you're limited on points, I thought this was a fine.
Yeah, you have to make other choices. Yeah. I said I personally like the for this army to put the what do you call it, the flame wand, the staff.
What?
The fire spit staff.
The fire staff.
Has the bound diamond. Yeah, the Ring of Fire. There we go. Whatever it's called. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the stupid thing.
It's a staff, a ring. It's something like that.
It's
Who
something.
cares?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Yeah.
I really like that in this army because you need the help dealing with chaff.
Chaff, correct. And that was one of the problems. Yeah, it really didn't come up that much in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, this tournament it could have.
I mean, I'd rather have a level 3 spell caster with that than a level 4 in a lot of cases.
Well, the problem is.
Depends how your rolls go.
The problem is in Druidism especially, there's spells that are probably not going to help you.
Yes.
There's a couple, I don't want to call them duds, but suboptimal spells in those lists. And if going with 3 just puts you that much more chance of being a completely worthless.
No, I'm saying it depends on the situation. I don't like Druidism myself for this army because I think, I said, you're already throwing 1 spell into getting thrown up. And then some of the spells you really want have pretty high casting values.
Right.
So a smart opponent's going to stop. If they're worried about you fighting in the trees, or they're worried about you growing back a whole bunch of guys, they're going to hold their dice for that because they know you just used someone thrown. But I think if you have Druidism, you definitely want to have really high. I mean, this is all the models of this army are pretty expensive, but you want to have the really high costed stuff, and that to me is like Pegasus and Grail Knights and things of that nature.
More Grail Knight, yeah.
Yeah, so you're bringing stuff, really expensive stuff back.
Yeah.
I prefer shamanism myself.
Yeah. Anyway, shamanism may have been better. It's got the couple longer range attacks.
Well, part of its personal preference, but
Druidism has what I kept looking at is Druidism has that advantage of having cast off terrain, but so a lot of their spells cast off pieces of terrain.
Right.
But then there was not a lot of the terrain I was looking for in some games.
Right.
So it has a double-edged sword to
it.
Exactly.
And I said, plus toughness is really nice.
Right.
Putting your opponent in the trees is really nice.
That's fantastic. It worked once really well.
Bringing back, a few expensive guys is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you're pinking up wounds on your characters, getting those here and there, that's nice. So it definitely has its advantages.
There's a lot of the spells in this list I liked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm kind of mixed on her. I kind of liked her. I was okay with what she did for the game.
Yeah.
Druidism is just kind of limited based on terrain and without having tables without like water. There's tables without water features. Kind of limits what you can do sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And I'd rather have spells that help me grind better as far as offensively.
A couple units of Knights of the Realm. Actually, all three of them.
Yes.
I was happy with all three of these. I did not have a problem with these, especially the unit with the War Banner. Yeah, 2-up armor save. They don't grind, but they can hit something and thump it pretty hard if they don't rubber lance it.
Yeah.
And their delivery systems for the characters for the most part.
Yeah.
Except for me, because my characters delivered themselves.
Yes, they always seem to charge up by themselves. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of think it's a mistake to overdo your core points.
Correct.
Of course, your challenge is you don't have some of the other units to play with, even if you.
Correct.
want
I
to
don't
use them.
have the.
That's really your
I don't
limitation.
have questing knights.
You have questing
I don't own
knights
questing knights.
You only have a couple of Grail Knights, and you weren't happy with their paint job that you got to.
Right.
So,
Correct. So I do think if I did this over, I would take a second unit of Knights Aspirant.
Yeah.
And because I like the Knights Aspirant, I like the additional charge. You know,
Charge range.
the more reliable charge.
Yes.
I keep thinking about the video that one guy did. I don't know. Old Sustainable Sinner, where he said, "Why do you give the best ability to the worst unit?"
Yeah.
Because charging is so important to this army.
Yes.
The worst are the weapon skill 3 units, the one that gets the one that rerolls their charge.
And they get the basically the frenzy on the charge.
The frenzy on the charge as well.
So, no, the aspirants are a fantastic unit.
Yeah.
I really liked them a lot. I'd always take.
I was very happy with the way they performed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I definitely have those instead of the third unit of Rights of Realm that you have.
Yeah. The Peg Knights. I think the Peg Knights are fantastic. I like them.
Yeah.
I liked what they did. The ability, the flexibility they have. I think they're a great piece in this army.
Oh, I love them. I love multiple units of them.
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, they can take on. They can fight small stuff. They can help larger fights if they can get into a flank.
Yeah, they're
anyway.
they're flyers, so they can get over things, or they move at a decent speed.
And I had 3 of them fight a couple ranked up units in the Skaven games and the one and the Beast Herd game, and did okay.
Yeah, they're toughness 4, which helps.
Toughness 4 with a 2-up armor. It's just really tough to get through them with that lowest strength attacks.
Right.
Moving on, the Mounted Yeomen. The only thing I can say about them is I needed at least one more unit.
Yeah.
They need to be there just for their, redirection chaff.
I mean, this army it has so few models when you play knights because they're so expensive.
Right.
So expensive compared to infantry. You need chaff to counter other people's chaff to keep people off of you. Yeah, it is. This is one of the armies I think you can play at 6,000 points. You still have to make hard choices.
Yes.
Most armies at 5,000 get everything they want, but not this army.
And then we come to the trebuchets.
The trebuchets.
2 trebuchets, 560 points. Most games, it was a 560 point gift to my opponent.
Yeah.
The one game I can recall them doing well was against the Vermin Swarm player, where they thumped and put the 3 wounds onto the plague pendulum,
right,
and killed probably 20 models out of that or more, 25 models out of that unit, and made them so fragile that we could just smash them after that. I didn't have anything to worry about. Other than that, they really didn't perform well. I mean, the fact that even if you hit something under the hull, you're only doing D3 wounds.
Right.
I mean, I was dropping them on the Minotaurs in the one game. In the second unit of the Minotaurs, the one that the Dragon Lance, not the Dragon Lance, the Minnow Lance, we're going to call it from now on.
Yeah.
As one of our listeners dubbed it.
Minnow Lance.
The Minnow Lance, yes. I was shooting at the other unit because I wanted to bring them down, and I was hitting and just doing a wound to the guy under the hole, and maybe another wound.
Yeah, you're averaging 2 wounds.
Yeah, it was not doing well to him.
No, they definitely have toned them down as far as their ability to mess with multi-wound models.
Correct.
That
I mean, they're fine firing into a string,
they're really good shooting into ranked up
into a
units
ranked up unit with that strength 4 is
with,
really
with
nice.
nominal, medium to low armor. Yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, I mean,
You're only hitting a third of the time,
yep, unless
and
they're close to you.
1/3 of the time you're hitting, half of that time, 1 out of 6, you're misfiring.
Yeah.
So it's pretty tough.
I mean, when they get closer, it becomes,
When they get into within 30, then those odds change.
yeah,
And now you got a 50-50
because it does
shot
have a
at it.
really long range.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find, I mean, it's tough to take trebuchets because the number of points that they have, and most opponents can see that as a way to get points from the army,
Right.
and you can't keep your knights back just defending the trebuchets.
It's hard to protect them.
Yeah, so it's because you really need, if you're playing the knight army, frankly, to me, this is now an avoidance army.
Yeah, avoidance as far as
You've gotta
moving and pick.
You've got to move
Pick your
around
little
and pick
fights.
your little fights because there's just so many things you can't fight. There's so
Right.
many hard counters to it, and you pick your fights and try to win at the end. And the trebuchets are just sitting back there static. So it gives you the potential of taking out units that you can't normally fight. The other strategy is you just know you're not going to fight those units,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
use those points for more guys or more chaff or whatever,
Yeah.
more Pegasus Knights.
Agreed.
And you play a more aggressive list. Or, because the one thing, this is still a pretty friendly list as far as Equitanes. You don't have any
There's
Grail
no
Knights
Grail
in there.
Knights in there,
and those are
yeah.
the hardest hitting. And your Pegasus are minimal size. You only have one unit of them.
Right.
So you definitely have other things you can take in the army that hit harder. But to do that, you probably have to do away with your trebuchets.
Correct.
Or at least do away with one of them.
Well, I think that only having one is not a threat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 2 that scare some people.
Correct.
Keeps the monster kind of hiding a
Yep,
little bit,
yep.
or the lord on a disc or whatever, kind of
Yep.
hides at least for the first turn or two
Yep.
till he's in position to get rid of one of them. You trebuchet, and then he can come out.
Yeah, and part of me also thinks is that you've got a lot of the big blocks of guys. If you got enough chaff, you can stay away from those things and not fight them anyway. The things you worry about are things like Scourges of Wrath and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're better off, frankly, with a Scorpion, shooting at those
Scorpion
darn
and
things.
Trebuchet shooting.
Yeah.
Good point. I mean, that could be true. I haven't tried
Only for those
those.
particular targets. I
Right.
mean, shooting
And
at that
they're
big.
less than half the cost. You
Yeah.
get 2 for the price of 1
Right.
trebuchet.
Right.
Which throws in another mounted yeoman unit as well, and
yes.
fills out, does some other
Right.
things.
I mean, if you're trying to use shooting to deal with something, you have to decide what you want to do with it. But you can go different directions.
Right. So overall, not thrilled with the list. I'm just not thrilled with where the army is for one thing, but I'm not thrilled with this list at all
Right.
that I put together. Trebuchet is definitely out if I play it again. And the Druidism probably out. And, who knows, Shamanism, Divination, one of those 2 go
Yeah.
in. Anyway, it was a fun tournament, I'll give you that, but like you said, it's not an optimal list. Need some toning up if I was going to keep playing it. I've kind of gone back to
Orcs and Goblins.
Orcs and Goblins for a
Going
little
back
while.
to the green,
Going back to the green for a little while.
so you can get back to your mediocre results instead of your
This tournament beat me out and beat the
Beat the lance
knights
out of you.
me. It did.
yeah.
Maybe put my lance away and park my knights on a shelf now. Back to Orcs and Goblins for a little bit and see how they do for me. But anyway, so that was it. Just kind of wanted to. Somebody mentioned it on the board. They wanted to see kind of a wrap up of what I thought of what the army was and how it performed. So that's kind of it. Yeah. No real chance. I mean, the trebuchets, like I said, trebuchets carried one game. The Dragon Lance guy kind of had a chance had a chance to carry a game.
Mm-hmm.
He did wipe out the unit of Minotaurs, but then whiffed completely into the Beast Lord after that. Had he even got one hit on that, one wound through on that, which multiplied, then he could have easily rolled that army.
Mm-hmm.
I did well against that army, but that could have rolled that entire army up. and it was a very good chance of him doing something against that.
Right.
Just didn't work out for me. You're relying on die rolls, and it's just so easy to rubber lands with this guy because he doesn't. After the first round of combat, he's a strength 4 guy with 4 attacks.
That's a challenge with a lot of
with
these
both
aggressive
these
ones.
characters.
You're hoping that you roll well,
Right.
and you're hoping to scare your opponent that they're worried that you're rolling well, that they'll do some things
Yes.
for you. But yeah,
Because he can roll well and do the 13 wounds to a unit of Minotaurs
yes,
once.
it'll happen once in a while. But yeah,
And it'll happen enough just to taunt you.
usually it won't though.
But anyway, so that's kind of the wrap up of my Buckeye list and what I thought about it. Who knows what I'll be doing by next year in Buckeye. We've got a 1-day tournament coming up that if I end up playing, it'll be Orcs and Goblins. My next tournament is not till October that I know of. Next 2-day tournament
Right.
that I know of was not till October. So we'll see what happens between now and then to see where I go. It looks like it's going to be Orcs and Goblins, but I can't guarantee that at this point.
Maybe dust off one of your other armies.
It could be. That would be too much of an effort. Anyway. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Till next time.